Yo, so right off the bat, spoilers, no need to worry about that. We're not going to be talking about the story of this game at all, but there will be minor gameplay spoilers, nothing crazy. I just finished the tutorial. Hey Link, how you doing, dude? So from what I gather, the plot of Zelda games is usually the same, or exactly the same in some cases. And they used to be standalone little things, but recently they started connecting the stories. And then there's a canon Zelda timeline, which But if you're like me and you're a little intimidated by all of it, there's this really cool video by Overly Sarcastic Productions, which just goes into it and it's just so... it's delicious, so crispy. Even though every game is its own little arc with its little story, beginning, middle, end, and everything wraps up, in the world of Breath of the Wild, there are traces of everything that happened before. So basically, you as a player find yourself doing the same things over and over again. And even if the stories don't collide, the world shows evidence of all of it happening. The rise of Ganon and the appearance of Link, and Zelda being there too. And that makes me think. So I want to talk about what it all means. Oh look, there's a chest up there. Alright, let's go get that. So I think you and I would probably agree that we experience time sequentially. Oh, no. Time is a straight line, basically. The past is behind us, the future is ahead of us, and we are steadily moving on. Pretty basic stuff. Wait, I don't think I can open it. What if... Yo, this game is all about problem solving. Yo, big boy. Oh, no, hang on. Does that mean... I've seen Breath of the Wild, does that mean it's gonna... will I die? Probably. Now, all over the world, through a whole bunch of different cultures, people have claimed that time is actually cyclical. The same events will continue to happen over and over again, and maybe the same exact way for all eternity. So let's start there. Whoa, bird. So first off, this theory is old, dude. It's old as balls. Sorry. And if you think about it, it's a way of like relinquishing control to the absurdity of the universe. Imagine knowing less about the world than we do now. More specifically, finding it more difficult to predict things with as much precision as we do now. If you want to know what to wear, you can just look at the weather on your phone and it'll probably be somewhat reliable. Back then, obviously, that was not the case. Your world was much smaller and you relied a lot more on your lived experiences and your senses. So, hang on a second. Guys, no, I'm trying to talk. Go away. Leave me alone. Who's firing? Haha, get sniped. But goblin guts, bro, why? So imagine you live in the real world, but still so many of the things you experience are really hard to predict, if you can predict them at all. The routines that you experience yourself in your daily life kind of gain a different perspective. You start to enhance the importance of routine. And this is something you can even measure in your daily life just by looking at things. The cycles of each day and night, the way people eat and they work out, and whatever else people do. Everything that was directly measurable and predictable in cause and effect suddenly became much more important. Kind of your survival relied on that. And I think this mental muscle of learning new patterns and adapting quickly is something that we do a lot in games when we're playing a new game and we're like, oh, what does this do? Like, I think if I were to run around with this one and I'm like, oh, I think it might start... yeah, there you go. I think it might start attracting lightning. You're like, oh, maybe I should not. And this effect of learning as a pattern and adapting that to our lives is something that we still see to this day. Many of the calendars of the world are based on 7 days because of the planets. We obviously experience the biggest cycle when we have a year and we go through the seasons as the Earth goes around the sun. That is like the cycle. And oof, that was pretty close. And the months are structured around the cycles of the moon. So when you're in a world that functions in a series of loops, it's no surprise that you think that the universe at large works the same way. So here in Zelda, as a whole, Link is faced with the back and forth of fighting Ganon every single time. And this is something he just takes in stride. He doesn't even think about it. And I think the reason for this is twofold. On one hand, Link barely reacts to anything emotionally. Maybe not in Wind Waker? That's a game I haven't played. Dude, I love this shrine. It's big egg. But the second reason why Link doesn't really react to the implications of all of these things is because there is an assumption that the player wants to be a part of this adventure. So the toll that it might take on Link is kind of silent with it. Again, I haven't played many Zeldas, so you can tell me if there's a game where Link is like reluctant to be a part of the adventure. Will I make it to the top of this rock that I randomly decided to climb? Because when you... Oh, look at this. This game is almost really pretty. I don't know if this is a cold take. I don't know if anyone agrees. Like, obviously, the art direction is really cool, but I don't know. Maybe the Switch is missing just a little bit of power. Just a little bit. But, you know, when you think about it, the idea that the world is never going to be rid of strife, that every bad thing is going to happen time and time again, that can be a little bit distressing. Let's make a hammer. Oh! Hey dude! Right, so many of the people who disagree with this theory and have spoken against it are also philosophers. Smelly. And over here in the West, one of the biggest groups that have spoken against this philosophy are Christians. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, and that's because it kind of goes against some of the more basic assumptions of Christianity. You know, free will. Guys, by the way, I'm a vegan in real life. You have no idea how many times I died in the tutorial, bro. It's embarrassing. Oh my gosh, this guy had a sword from the guards in Hyrule Castle. I'm sure it was a gift. I'm sure it's fine. So back on track, Christianity. If things happen time and time again and everything's already decided, you don't get a say in it and you're just minecarted through life, Minecrafted through life. And also, specifically for Christianity, this goes against the idea of salvation. If things are bound to happen over and over again without any way to stop it, then your soul is basically trapped here. Oh, we have fire. There we go. There is the story of Jesus breaking the cycle and coming back to life, but hold your horses, we'll get to that. So anyway, even within the Greeks, and even if this idea was widely accepted or whatever, it doesn't mean that people didn't find it somewhat troubling. Because here's the thing, under this view of the world, there is nothing you can do to break the cycle. Every little thing you've done as a singular person has already been determined, and time stretches infinitely backwards and forwards. But this idea of infinite time, Abrahamic religions don't agree with it. They claim that there is a specific time when God created everything and a specific time where everything will end. And I think to our Western brains that makes a lot of sense. It's very simple, really, but not all philosophies work like that. Some Greeks, in particular the Stoics, they didn't agree with this idea of God creating the world from the outside because they didn't think that God existed on a higher plane. To them, God created the world from the inside. The universe itself is God. So if time is infinite and the world is infinite, then God is infinite. And in that moment, we were infinite. Stay away from that stuff. People are calling it gloom. You will lose your strength. Not my strength, not my gains. Anyways, it's interesting the different postures that people took to this idea. Things are gonna happen. Things is things. And there is nothing we can do to stop them from happening. What you do have control over is yourself. And exerting that control is a choice that you have to make every single day. To be fair, this does clash a little bit with video game philosophy, where they say that our choices matter and they affect the world at large. Like in SMT5, actually, spoilers for that one for real though. The whole game is presented as like, you know, there's this cycle of destruction and rebirth, and your actions determine what's gonna happen moving forward. Oh my gosh, bees. Let's try not to kill them. Yo! That was cool, I didn't kill them. Let's go. Now, the Greeks were not the only people who proposed the idea that the world might work this way. There's also the very notable case of Buddhism and Hinduism. Let's do Buddhism first. According to that worldview, time and things are inextricably linked. Flowers don't bloom in spring, the snow doesn't fall in winter. The blossom is spring. Snowfall is winter. The fact that these things happen isn't important because things aren't important. Buddhism teaches the doctrine that one of the most important things that someone can do is escape the cycle of rebirth, of life and death, of pain and suffering. Basically, to rise above all the material and earthly distractions. Because according to them, your body and your soul, let's call them, are two very different things. Under this idea, it's no surprise that Ganon keeps coming back, because he just represents strife. He represents all that is bad, conflict, over petty things. Life will always be met with opposition. And yes, the right thing to do is to help promote peace. But even if we succeed, that doesn't mean that the peace will last forever. Nothing will. Now, going over to Hinduism, the idea that time is cyclical is literally expressly believed. Each cycle is called a yuga, which... So in Hinduism, everything exists forever. The self is always existing. Everything that is born will die at some point, and everything that dies will come back in some shape. There'll always be a me, and there'll always be a you, even if they don't look like we look like now. Under this philosophy, there would always be a Link, there would always be a Ganon, and there would always be a blonde. So the fact that they keep coming back, Ganon and Zelda and all of them, it means nothing. That's just the nature of things. Alright, enough about that. Let's talk about something gay.
Bring a bucket and a mop.
We're gonna talk about Nietzsche, cause he was gay. So The Gay Science is this book written by the man himself. And, science? Bro, I think you're doing it wrong. In this book, Freddy started dipping his crusty little toes into... Why am I ripping so hard into him? Bro, I have never even met the man. Nietzsche started exploring the basis of the idea of the eternal return. Eternal return. Returnal? Gamer? The basic idea of the novel is exploring the emotional impact of time going round in circles. Throw that ass in a circle. Picture this. Picture yourself in a moment of happiness, of victory, of joy. You're Link, and you face Ganon, and you beat him off. Allegedly, this moment has already happened an infinite number of times, and it will continue to happen. So, in a way, this moment is forever. You'd be chillin'. Bro, you'd never not be chillin'. But say you found yourself in a bad moment. Bro, that would suck. If you were angry, or you were sad, and you couldn't get out of that moment, bro, that would be so bad. That would be awful. I tried. But this is exactly what Ganon does. He curses Link and Zelda to relive this battle, this strife, forever. I think this happens in Zelda Guardians of Light or whatever it's called. But this idea of it being a curse is very close to what Nietzsche wrote. And just, by the way, I think this is a coincidence. I don't really think that they base Zelda of Nietzschean philosophy, but I mean, I don't know. In real life, the reason why Zelda plots repeat themselves is because developers found a strategy that works, a formula, and they're just repeating it because we're gonna eat it up. And we will, because it's good. So I guess this idea of us being comfortable experiencing the same things over and over again is one point in favor of the eternal return. But that's not the real point of this. So it's not surprising that this idea of eternal return would be something that's debated over fiction, not reality, because like, how would you go about proving something like this? Nietzsche did try to logic his way there, but bro, there's a reason that one stayed in the drafts. And I bet he's up there, yep, okay, alright, fine. But like the Stoics, it seemed Nietzsche posed this question or this idea more as a moral question rather than a practical one. I think it's like this. Whenever you're doing something, you should ask yourself, would I be happy reliving this moment for all eternity? Would I feel proud? Would I feel guilty? Free will or not? In the moment, what you do is your choice, but you've got to stick to it. But this is a moral conclusion that people have got trying to understand what Nietzsche meant, because if we're being real, we have no idea. Like, he never spoke about this. He never came to that conclusion. I think it's so funny that Nietzsche developed this concept and he wrote about it in several books, and to this day we have no idea what he meant by it, or even what was the point. It kind of reminds me of this meme. Classic Freddy. Oh hey bro, you need to reach your friend. Where is he? So, what now?
So,
No, I'm
what
saying
now?
Can we break the cycle? Honestly, who knows? I think it's very telling that the people who have taken this philosophy somewhat seriously don't really bother with that question. think it's kind of pointless. The universe is huge and it's really hard to make sense of it. The only thing that you can rely on controlling, but more so than that, understanding, is yourself. But in Zelda, we find an interesting answer. It doesn't matter. People will always die, humanity will always find a reason to fight each other, and you will know anguish as much as you will know joy. But that doesn't mean that you should stop trying or that you shouldn't care. Even if bad things happen forever, good things happen forever. I mean, how many times does Link beat Big Daddy Ganon all on his own? And that's because of us, because we put in the effort. Alright bro, let's get you on board. You may not be able to break the cycle or even understand the larger structure of it, but within that you can find meaning in your own path. You can make the meaning of your own path. Alright bro, let's go. Yo! No! That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Are you okay, bro? There you are. We love a happy ending. I have here in my notes, make a river analogy. So, you can't stop it, but it's water and it's pretty. So there you go. So what did we learn? How does the universe work? It seems we are so far away from actually answering that question with proof. But within that, in our silly little lives with our silly little games, we should try to be happy. Nothing we make will last forever. Nothing. Not as a person, not as a society. But still, the pursuit or happiness, or maybe even more so, the sharing of happiness. Bro, that's what life is all about. That's what makes it all worth it, dude. Let's go, dude. Let's fucking go. Alright, I'm gonna go play more Zelda now. Bye.